like what happened. Let me see. Let's make sure we're in.
Okay.
Uh, February 22nd. Have we even talked since then?
I think we talked a little bit. Let's see here.
All right, hang on. I'll tag you on this. Okay, it's coming up now. What's that?
Oh, that's hold on a second. Let me fix this. I want to look at what you're asking me. So,
All right, hang on.
here we
Hang
go.
on. I got to grab something too.
Cool.
All right, here we go. I just tagged you. We're about to go live. Hang on. We are live, actually.
February 22nd, I believe, is what you said, Todd. All right, there we go.
Some light in here. Okay. Wow, what's that?
That's the day you were talking about, Todd.
That's 22 February 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a natal chart.
Well, yeah, of course. So it looks like we got a moment in time. This is 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, sunrise chart, pretty much
Uh huh.
for the day February 22nd, 2022.
Right on. Oh, happy birthday, man. Somebody just said happy birthday.
Thank you.
We'll have to do a little rap. A birthday rap.
Cool.
Um, okay. So this was the actual day. So this chart. So you're basically. I mean, is this like a snapshot? Is that what a natal chart is? Like a snapshot of a given day?
And exact time of birth, absolutely. Event.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So what happens like? Excuse me. What happens like? I think it was Thursday or Friday that Pat Donworth, she watches the sun and all the solar stuff and all that stuff. I don't understand it all, but she wrote something on Thursday or Friday, and it was like there's this huge solar storm coming, and normally it doesn't hit direct on Earth, but this one will in 3 days, and I think that was Sunday, maybe Monday down under, and people felt it everywhere. Does that normally something like that normally show up in this type of thing?
Absolutely. We're looking at the sun's electromagnetics, and the sun itself is dragging the whole solar system through the sign of Pisces toward the sign of Aquarius. And, when we were younger, we had the model where the planets are orbiting around the sun, right?
Mm,
But I think Nassim Harriman put out that one where you're seeing the sun moving and the planets are spiraling around it.
right,
And
right.
that's more of the reality of what's happening. And so planets have their own gravity. They make their own gravity. The way the sun is working through things and transforming things energetically and vibrationally has everything to do with the planet's energies.
It's crazy. It's like the sun could be one cell in a huge, humongous energy complex or being, and everything that's coming from it is like, I guess, what we would call the imagination or the energy field or you know what I mean? The multidimensionality of one cell. That's what we could be. This solar system, this galaxy. It's crazy.
Absolutely. We live in a vibrational reality for sure, man.
Well, I mean, just Morgan always says a copy is a copy is a copy, but just from that standpoint, like from the standpoint of even cellular, like observing the cellular within a human body, the way it operates, it's all like the flower of life shit. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Like in your life, the sun in astrology represents the development of good character, the development of
Mm.
your character.
Is that Toltec or astrology?
You know that the sun is what you rise to become. And so the
Hmm.
sun sign represents the character that you grow into.
And what does the moon
The
represent?
moon, yeah, it's the moon is, of course, your emotional reality. It represents your childhood, and it represents how you nurture yourself or not.
Well, whether you nurture yourself. If you howled at the moon a lot throughout your life, was that a plus or a negative?
Uh, I think the howling is the symbol of awareness, like the full moon.
I am soul. Buck naked to the soul, howling at the moon.
You know, this date that you brought up is the Pluto return of America.
So the 22nd of February 2022 was the Pluto return of America. So what does that mean?
Actually, it was the beginning of the Pluto return.
The beginning. Yeah,
Yep,
the beginning. I'm sorry, did I misspeak? Yeah, okay.
because it's
So
a 3 year process.
okay, so this would be the same thing that would hold true for somebody born on the same day. Would that be right?
You know,
I
if
mean
they're born
born.
on this day, their destiny definitely aligns with America. Many people that were born in 1976 are aligned with the destiny of America.
And so does the astrology kind of project uh, what that's going to be? I
Well, if
mean,
we take a look over the next 3 years, and you know, this is I saw all the stuff on Facebook and YouTube that said the 22nd is the day for the Pluto return, and it's hard to remind people that Pluto moves very slowly, and America is 245 years old. And it's going to be turning 246, and it must turn 248 to complete this process. So this was the
oh,
beginning date of the next 3 years of the final date that will come 3 years down the road when America turns 248.
wow.
Mhm.
And so does Pluto return mean like all the shit comes up?
Well, I always refer to that Mary Queen of Scots movie. It was their Pluto return in Britain. That movie was about sheer corruption that was followed by a renaissance on all levels.
Really?
But Pluto is the underworld, so Pluto brings the secret stuff. And this is why we're so divided in information. And the people that don't want to look at the horrible things in the world, it's easier to think they don't exist, you know. Um, but Pluto brings it to the surface.
Mm. Sounds pretty cool. Sounds intense.
Absolutely. And I think you asked, Todd, you asked, what is it going to look like? And, you know, it's, man, astrology and what it really brings forward, like this year, starting in April, Jupiter and Neptune conjunct each other. And you'll see it on the chart. I'll just go forward here a little bit. Let's see here by the month. Um, And this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune is a big spiritual expansion for us. And in 2021, we started this new start around community and actually creating structures or going through the growing pains around community and what it actually is.
Wow. That resonates. Like, in other words, people finding their own tribe.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's Saturn and Aquarius and Jupiter and Aquarius, which brings the heart to the center of the community and brings individuality and individual growth as a staple of the community and individual empowerment.
Has I just got sidetracked. Astrology. I forgot. I just got. Go ahead, keep going. It'll come back. It'll come back.
So we're, you know, the biggest question that's coming up right now is, do we just give all of ourselves away and go back into the old cycle of sacrifice and this idea that that's going to create something for us, or do we really learn how to step into our sacredness and light the sacred fire of community?
Right on. Yeah. Okay. I know what I was going to ask you, and this is why. So what you're saying is for the last year or two, there's been the energy of like collaboration, community, aligning with those like you, and is there like, I mean, to me lately, and as time goes on, it feels like I'm just going into the alignment. Like I'm not going, okay, I got this download, I got to go do something. It's just like this sense of you're just kind of walking into it. So looking at this astrology, I mean, it's not predestination, but it's pre something, right? I mean, it's like the forecast of the energy that's around the weather, the cosmic weather forecast, or is this more that we step into alignment and it's happening anyway, or we're making it happen? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask you.
So one thing we talk about in astrology is transpersonal, and transpersonal themes come in the outer planets, and those are the themes that we're all going through together.
Transpersonal.
And now personal themes are the inner planets. That's Mars and Venus, and she said this and he did that.
So what's transpersonal? Like transformation, right?
Well, it's beyond the personal. So to go beyond the personal energy, like for example, the structure of everything. In 2019 and 20, Pluto and Saturn brought collapse to the structure. And notice, whether you believed in astrology or not, you still went through the collapse of structure outside of your personality. And then you're dealing with the personal effects of how that collapse has affected your inner reality.
I got you. So like the well, I guess you called it the inner planets. The inner planets, those have a very personal feel, and then the outer planets are more of a collective feel. But there's space in between too. So like there must be a connection, like almost like the outer planets are the babies of the inner planets.
Beautiful description, Todd. I couldn't have described it better myself. And we're talking about Pluto today, and Pluto rules the masses. It rules the mass consciousness, and not just the mass consciousness, the mass subconsciousness, the mass fears.
Wow. Wow.
And that's what we're looking to change, because if we transform the fear of not having security, then we can literally live from the foundation of what real care is about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was watching something in the last 2-3 days, and it had to do with some ET contact. It was, you got to take everything with a grain of salt, but from a level of kind of discerning with it, the feel of it, and anyway, the short of it is, it doesn't even matter what kind of show it was. The being, the level of intelligence frequency that the being who happened to be an ET in this narrative was extremely high. And basically that's what they said. They said that in terms or in the context of what's going on now or what could happen in the short future, no matter what, their collaboration would be basically based on our ability to work with each other and do exactly what you're talking about, this energy or this cosmic weather pattern is bringing.
Yeah, I think the retrogrades of the inner planets play such a huge role. And since you explained the outer theme so well, I can't help but want to bring the inner retrogrades that have really delivered on what you're talking about.
Okay.
And this last Venus retrograde made it where if you didn't feel in resonance with something, then you really couldn't connect with it or find energy or space in your field to literally allow it to be real.
Yeah, that happened.
I know. And this one also reflects the one that happened in the summer of 2020 when everybody got all pissed off and nobody was in integrity and we changed all these directions of
when
life.
COVID set in, really set in after 2 or 3 months. Hey, this shit ain't going anywhere.
And that brings me to this November when Mars goes retrograde in Gemini.
Mars goes. What will happen then? What will it?
So it's
Will
going
it
to
be
be
the same? Yeah. Go ahead.
well, it's going to be a reorganization of our mentality and also how we multitask and how we either do it the hard way or not. It's also the fun part of it, the enthusiasm of Gemini, of new ideas and hating to be bored. So the externalization of mental aggression will be checked at that time on all levels.
On all levels, at the micro, minuscule scroll. Wow. So, do you think that we are? Oh God, are we are cogs in this infinite universal wheel, or whatever, in this realm or galaxy or whatever, and the gears are turning, and it's more that it's happening anyway, or it's more that we're making it happen? Or actually, I just answered my question, because it's the same thing. It's the chicken and the egg.
I think what's really cool about the planets is since they're vibrational, that, we think of them as outside of ourselves, but they are vibrational realities that connect into our psychology
Yeah,
and how we process things.
and the body, right? I mean, everything.
Absolutely. And notice we are always looking for the material reality to be reflected in the non-material reality in some way. And there obviously is a connection between something's physical presence and its resonance.
So, okay, just from your opinion, your perspective, what is astrology? What is, because I mean, obviously you look, so what is astrology? Well, then you look at the stars and you see, this is how they're formed on this given day. Like, in your opinion, is it like the outline of the realm or the experience? Is it God itself? I mean, God, the goddess, I have to say goddess. Is it an overlay? I mean, what's your opinion? I'm just curious.
I would say that astrology is the science of vibration,
Okay.
the science of resonance, the science of gravity. Planets are organized, they make their own gravity.
Okay.
And their effect on the sun itself and the effect of the solar weather, like we started this conversation a little bit,
All right.
I think definitely has a big role. And I think we haven't really seen really bad solar weather with Saturn and Uranus square each other, which in past transits when this happened, I'm pretty sure the solar activity was a little higher, but we've been going through that solar minimum because we've been in the cloud. We've been in the the proton, the light. We've been in the arm of one of the arms of the Milky Way. So there's so much energy in this part of our galaxy. What do they call it? The photon belt. There it is. I couldn't find it.
Photon belt. Yeah. Photon belt.
We're in it, and notice after we completely came in it in 2012, we started going into more of a solar minimum. And my question with that was, okay, the sun's has all this extra energy now. And does that mean it burns hotter or that it internalizes more? I don't really know.
Right. So what you're saying basically, and it makes sense to me if I understand it correctly, is looking at the stars, the same language is speaking. It's no different than as I go through my day and everything in front of me is speaking to me in some way. Right? Like, so the study of vibration not just meaning something's, like an earthquake. It's the sight, it's all the senses and the higher sensitivities. So basically that's looking up there is no different than looking at everything as we're going from moment to moment and reading it for what it offers, right? Yeah.
Within us, yes.
Very cool.
It's hard to disconnect psychology and astrology, even though they would like to never have it connected. But Carl Jung, of course, kept astrology charts on everyone, and a lot of his new discoveries were repackaged astrology techniques that have been
Okay.
around for generations.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I have psychotherapists come to my office and get astrology readings, and they always comment that I don't have to ask any questions.
And the cool thing is, it's not a download; it's a science. It's really, if you get right down to it, it's probably been passed down orally. Oral history or oral, through the generations more than any other way.
It's a trip, and how tied it is to resonance and everything. It all really goes together. It goes together with the music healing and what we're working on with that. It's all right there. When I look at someone's chart, I get to see their geometry, their inner geometry.
Wow. How many years did it take of like being immersed in that for you to become this fluent in it?
Well, I started in 1989, so.
And you're still going. You're still going like Michelangelo, right? 87 years old. I'm still learning.
Right.
I love that quote, man. I want to. That's a great quote.
It's harder to read books, but I will tell you the astrological symbols become ways of organizing information and energy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like looking at a piece of music too and translating it. It's actually the exact same as looking at a piece of music and translating it. But I figured that out in 2002, and nobody could understand what I was talking about. But
I'm still trying to figure it out. What are you talking about?
So in astrology, when you have an object or a planet that is in a certain degree to another planet, it infers its tonality.
I got you.
Sound and geometry are the same thing. And, astrology helped me understand my feelings deeply and understand what tension was and how to feel it, what awareness felt like, opposition, what harmony felt like. And music is all about tension and resolution, just as sound is.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else, the whole universe is.
Just as everything is. Every single thing is.
Right.
So, all right. So, but I don't think that, or can I, in other words, what you just verbalized, your experience with it, that showing you deep parts of yourselves, and the way more about yourself, like learning about yourself. But you don't get that from a standard astrology book, do you? I mean, is there some level you go to that, like level of reading or like Jung or, whoever?
Yeah. First you have to learn the language. And I'm sure I've told my astrology story of my teacher, of how he taught me on your show before. But he made me learn the language of astrology first, and he said that there's no reason even going forward if you don't know the language. And I think it was the best astrology advice for people that are interested in learning astrology. It's like learning a foreign language, and you must know the language of signs, houses, and planets backwards and forwards.
So know the symbols of them, or know?
No, not just the symbols. Like, for example, to know the sun in every sign of the zodiac, to know Mercury in every sign of the zodiac. What sign is it ruled in?
Holy shiitake mushrooms, man.
Yes.
Like, snatch the pebble from my hand after 36 years, I might be able to do it.
Well, once you know the language, then it changes and you begin to see the dimensionality of it, and you start realizing that it's not this circle on a page with symbols on it. It's a representation of your space-time location.
That's how you can look at that diagram, and we're all sitting here going, what the hell is that? And you're just going, like, yeah, it back and forth.
Well, it's kind of like reading the gravity of someone's development. Say you have a friend that always is clumsy. That friend may have Mercury square Mars, so their mind and their actions don't align properly. And they're clumsy. And people will come into my office that have Mercury square Mars. I will literally tell them, I'm like, you're clumsy. You got to be careful. And they're like, I'm so clumsy. I'm like, I know. It says it right here. You're super clumsy.
Well, nothing wrong with being direct. At least astrology will be direct. So
That
I've been sitting with this because I actually have been. I like Jung. I don't know him in and out, but I pop in on different things, mostly videos where someone's either discussing him or it's him, and this is just over a cumulative period of time. But so I started thinking about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and I'll just call it the soul. And to me, the soul would represent whatever, right?
super consciousness.
Super consciousness. Okay. So I'm sitting here, and this is what got me started on it. I came across this 1 hour lecture by a dude that was in the Navy. He was I think an admiral. He then went to the Pentagon. He looked like my stepfather. And I was like, this dude looks like a G-man all the way. Anyway, so he ends up retiring in like 96. And he immediately goes into Reiki healing, energy healing, hypnotherapy. And he just goes off on this tangent, right? Very, mild-mannered, very just straightforward, almost like a drone. And so I go to his website, 76 people on his YouTube channel, website. The information in writing and what he had to say was very interesting. I'm looking at it going, is this guy's like some kind of psyops? It didn't go right? Because everything he was saying was, I told Morgan, what you say, right? He developed a method to where he doesn't do like the QHHT, but does hypnotherapy. And what he does is they have 3 people in the session, like the raw sessions, right? And what they do is they don't talk to the abductees, they talk to the abductors. So they develop like this network, right? So anyway, what drove me into it was I was then looking at, wow, this is what Morgan talks about all these years. And this is what, and it's like his writing was very similar to her explanations in writing. And then I was looking at it in the context of other people in general. And because I look at it, I go, okay, here's this kind of like direct link thing going to the soul or through the heart or however that happens. Then you got the subconscious over here because we know the conscious. The subconscious is over here, and it's like the winter wonderland. It's like the void, the abyss. And I see people like Morgan, that develop these bulldozers that go into the subconscious. You know what I mean? Like my paths to the subconscious are paths. They're like vibrational. I see these people going with bulldozers and get down into the subconscious. And I see that like as another, like say it's a triangle, like that's one path that I feel like mine's just a path, not like a super highway. Or the other one, and you see it in yourself or other people where they have like the super highway to super consciousness, right? So I guess where I'm going with this is it's almost like there's a trinity between the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. And I can only speak for myself, but I would have to say most of the people here would say the same thing. The part that I know the least about today is the subconscious.
Well, it's interesting, Todd, that it can only be described in the way that it is. And the way that you described it is the way that it is. And if you look at the Toltec assemblage point system, we have this thing that in the 8th point of assemblage, we call it soul integration. And when your model begins to collapse and you become a co-creator in this reality, you have to then deal with your soul programs.
Soul programs? Or
yes, all the soul. Subconscious soul programs, they are all very, very connected. Your unconscious and your consciousness collapses together into the soul's integration.
Yeah.
And then your subconscious and conscious superconsciousness collapse into one another in
Are you waving at me?
No, I'm waving at Steve. He just tried. You were just
tell Steve to come on, man. Tell him
he won't. He won't come on here now.
So it sounds like there's a a vertical merging and a horizontal merging at the same time.
Yes, and then it spirals, and we call that warrior's freedom, the liberation into that formlessness. And see,
Is this Toltec?
this is the Toltec energy
That's-
system, which is a map of charge collapse. It totally
okay.
describes everything that you brought up today.
Okay. Well, there's a reason for this, and here's another thing. I don't know why I've gotten. I haven't done a lot of research for quite some time, like for like a while, like 3 or 4 years. Like most of us did a lot of research when the internet broke open. But lately, I haven't been spending a lot of time watching stuff fully. But what I have been doing is researching and saving videos to watch. And a couple of nights ago, I saved 4 Toltec videos. Like, who are the Toltecs? Because, like, you got the African thing going, okay? What's that called?
That's called Ifa, or the ancestral traditions from West Africa.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a few months. But so you got that, you got the Toltec, and you got the astrology, and sometimes I would get confused, right? And so tell me again, just quick summary, where were the Toltecs located? Who are they? And what is Toltecism or Ossipee?
Toltec means builder, builder
Okay.
of your own reality, builder of your own consciousness. The Toltecs are a spiritual sect of the Mayan culture
Okay.
that set out and settled in central Mexico in all 4 directions from.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So they're like the Sufis was to the Muslims, right?
Similar.
They broke off.
They did break off, but they didn't really break off. They still were integrated.
Right, but they kind of like dance to their own beat, kind of deal, like the Sufis.
Well, one
What
thing
happened?
we have to always talk about with the in central Mexico is the Mexica and the nomadic people that got also intertwined in everything. There's some really cool videos I'll send you.
Mexica.
The Mexica, yes, that's a
You
big.
know, and I saw just recently that the biggest pyramid in the world is in Mexico.
Yeah, in Cholula, I've been there. As a church on top of it.
Is that Toltec?
Yeah, yes,
That's what I thought, man. I was getting like this Toltec vibe, and I thought, man,
it's
the
huge.
wizard's
Four
going to show
times.
up. The wizard's going to show up with a pointed hat and a purple robe. No, I've been feeling this Toltec thing. I don't know why.
Well, we must go to Mexico and spend some time with the Toltecs. Their energy system and the way that energy collapses into formlessness is this poetic journey of the warrior's mood. And I love all of the quotes from the Carlos Castaneda books, like getting into the mood of the warrior is quite difficult.
Right? Yeah. Um, wow.
But this is what we get into in my course, Light Body Evolution. We get into all of the Toltec energy system and how it works and how you can utilize it to develop your awareness and live from no pity.
So Toltecs, okay. So to me, the feel, okay. This is just my own illusion or intel, because I don't know what the difference is. But like as I was vibing, because the vibes have been amazing post 22nd February. Certainly in March has been just incredible. On my back a lot, but anyway, what was I talking about? You see, and that's the memory's been going too. What was this? Oh, the Toltecs.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. So the way I got there, through my experience, mind's eye, 5 senses, as I was going through my day, just hanging around, was through the builders. Believe it or not. You said Toltec means builders? Yes. It was through the master builder kind of narrative or reality or timeline, particularly Antarctica, which had come to me before, and it was just kind of there, and I was just following the cookie crumb. I go there, and it basically, it's an Atlantis thing, and then it becomes that splits, and then that's where I followed it, was to Central America. What is Central America, right? So, and then I'm finding out about this pyramid because I'm doing some other research and some really amazing stories about the Mayans and the Toltecs. So then I'm like, okay, what the hell is a Toltec? I want to get like somebody to explain it to me step by step. But yeah, the feel for it, the feel for me was and is that it is, yeah, I guess you could say in comparison, like an oral history. And what I mean by that is like a off planet, possibly even off universe tradition or way that made its way here, grassroots, and is an example of a continuation of what we might call sacred wisdom or universal wisdom in the flesh, so to speak. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Absolutely. That's I can't wait to introduce you to Baba Ricardo Cervantes, the chief of the Toltec people.
Where does he live?
He lives in Teotihuacan, where the big sun and moon pyramid is in south of Mexico City.
It might be a while. But because the minute I can get the hell out of this country, I'm going straight to Australia. I don't give a shit if I have to swim.
Well, if you ever want him on the show, him and his son have a huge cultural center. And
dude, let's do it. What are we waiting for? We can have a four-way. Yeah.
No problem.
We can have a four-way. We got ECAM.
I love to support the cultural center. I send people down there.
Yeah.
They have a beautiful tea mescal, and they built a ball court where they play the sacred game, and they come out in the costumes.
What sacred game? Like lacrosse?
No, like the ball game.
Like, is it what? What do you mean?
In the Mayan culture, they would have a ball game, and they would use the ball game to deal with different disputes. And whoever lost the ball game,
I remember that from a past life. You beat the shit out of each other.
Well, you lose your head if you lose.
So they reenact it.
Well, they come and bring the tradition and the drumming and the actual game, so you get to see them playing it. It's a sight to see. The whole community comes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Is it like the headquarters of Toltec today?
As far as I'm concerned, yes. When I met the chief in 2008, he said many books say that his people are dead and gone. He said, but we are here. And he's taught me two ways. He said that the Carlos Castaneda books hold our wisdom and our history is Mu. And the Mu books, there's 3 books. It's called Lost Civilization of Mu, Children of Mu, Sacred Writings of Mu. And the chief says that this is our history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah, we have to definitely get them on. They're great.
Yeah, just hook us up, man.
Not a problem. I'll send an email. Hook
us up, and
I would love to see the chief on here. It'd be great.
Saturdays and Sundays are typically free. We can just set it up for anytime between like 2 and 10 o'clock at night. I don't care.
Yeah, and they have cultural events, so maybe we could, have one of the cultural events on when all the community's there. It's really beautiful to experience and witness, and they have an amazing tour company for the last 40 years. That's who took me to the pyramid you're talking about in Cholula, the largest one in the world.
How big was that thing?
It's 4 times as big as the pyramid in Giza.
Holy shit! Well, I forgot the dimensions. I thought it was 365 by 100, but that might be something else that I was looking at.
Well, there's a Catholic church built on top of it, and when we arrived, the church was closed, but the chief has some pull, so he got them to open it up for us. And one thing you'll find in all of the churches
is that where that picture came from, where you're like in the light, you're in
that picture with the eagle on my chest and light came from a cenote or a cave adjacent to this big sun and moon pyramid. Literally, like right across the street from it, there's this cave that he takes people to.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you said it's a sun and moon pyramid. Is that the pyramid, or is there other pyramids there?
So the big sun and moon pyramid is the one in Teotihuacan, also known as San Miguel de Piramides. It's about 40 kilometers south of Mexico City.
Okay.
And Cholula is about maybe almost 2 hours away from there. There's also a place called Tula that has the 14-foot tall Atlantean statues on the pyramid.
What are those?
It's
14.
beautiful. Yeah,
What
they're
are,
14-foot tall statues on
are
top of the
they? Are
pyramid.
they replicas of the people of Atlantis?
They're the warriors, Bubba.
What do they look like?
They look like warriors.
Are they humanoid?
Yep.
Are they like humanoid in the face, or do they resemble any type of like lion or dog or anything?
They're Toltec warriors, really. You can look them up online for sure. Just Tula, Tula, and we can get some pictures up of that very easily.
Man, I'm calling in the Toltecs. I'm feeling it now. I think what's happening is they're like
Omoteatl.
huh?
Omoteatl.
Omoteato.
Yes, very good, very good.
I hope so. I'm a
That's
Mexican.
good.
For
That's
Christ's
very
sake.
good. Very good.
I have to get out of this southern accent.
It means the tip of the arrow where masculine and feminine meet.
I can't think of a better place, right?
That's the me neither.
Yeah, far out. Toltec, and then I can't go to the West African thing right now. The Toltecs is a yeah. I mean, I came across, and I have over the years, but then it all started coming together just a few days ago, and I just went, oh, there's something, or I was being shown something, it just popped up. But like they had they've got some stories that I came across that had to do with Inner Earth. They had to do with visitation. There was this one story where an entire village of about 3,000 or 4,000 people disappeared overnight.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what happened. They're gone, and they were like Mayan, old Toltec-esque, but they had like, they were very advanced. Right. Their stuff was really advanced.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stories of them going into the inner earth. When we were in Mexico over a decade ago, the chief showed us some video over the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, and there's two ships dancing like this over the top of it. And the ceremony that they came to, these ships, was a ceremony when all these tribes from around the world every 2 years come to those pyramids.
Wow.
And as they were all entering the plaza, these ships are dancing over the pyramids. And I will tell you, it's the best UFO video I've ever seen in my life. And I asked the chief if he's going to put that on the internet. And he goes, oh, no, they are our brothers. We know them. It's no big deal.
People need to see that. See it here first on Soulogy with the interview with the chief.
We can get see if his nephew still has it, because his nephew was recording the entrance of the people in. Mm-hmm. Then you see him drop the camera and he's run across the plaza. When the camera comes back up, it's UFO heaven. Mm.
So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that we are going to bring more into our field? Let's just say like the things that we can't see will become visible. Let's just put it that way. Then we don't have to talk about timelines and dimensions. That we're basically going to defy death, bring more into our field, and basically step into our multidimensionality as if we're in any other aspect of it. Okay. Or, I forgot what the word was. Do you think it's going to go like that?
I think that we must become magnetic, and the more that we become magnetic, everything you just described is.
Right. Okay. So, because like the other side of it was, or another way to put it, or represent it was, where do you think you're going to go after this physical incarnation? But that becomes a moot point, because if the first one's true and can be attained, the second one never happens.
Well, it's interesting. Everybody is putting all these dates for when things happen. But a long time ago, when I came into the awareness beyond the duality of my emotional reality, all of those things already really exist.
Right.
And, that's like, you can't teach anybody to understand the timelessness inside of themselves. It's something that you can only experience.
Yeah.
but you must be magnetic to do so. And we live in a world where everything is demanding us to move away from our magnetism, to abandon ourselves.
But not anymore. And what's the magnet? The heart.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting the last, I had like the Mother Goddess energy come in like 3 nights out of 4,
Right.
which isn't normal. And it was very profound. And I'm sure a lot of people over the last few days have had some profound stuff going on. I want to ask you about that. But in this case, there was a whole, just procession of experiences and sensations and weird things happening. And, but at the end of the day, when she broke it down, she said, like in this, like where you sit right now, whatever just lead with your heart. And then like begets like, and don't worry about how or why or what or when. It's just going to happen. This is actually the universal will. And it's not something that you latch onto, it's something that you become, right? So she was like taking me there. But I wanted to ask you, or if you want to comment on that, that's fine. But also, would you just kind of give, like, what I know that the solar flare came in, or the solar storm, but like any other substance to pull from in terms of what happened, what's going on, and what's about to happen.
Okay, yeah, we're finishing up since March 3rd, the Venus retrograde, and the old story of our magnetism and how we organize our life came to a point where it really asked you, what do you know? And it came into Aquarius to transform through what you know, which is your heart. And so the magnetic alignment of the heart, this has been a period that started in May of 2019 and finished March 3rd.
May of 2019.
May of 2019, yeah, all the way to literally March 3rd, 2022.
Okay, May of 2019. I'm trying to think.
Yep.
In Hawaii, and then we came over on. Yeah, because I was thinking about this the other day because like we were in Hawaii for like 10 months. And it was just like boom, boom, boom. I mean, grid work, personal, dimension, out of body. It was just boom, boom, boom. ETs, everything, dragons. And then I remember about 2 months before we got the call to leave, everything just kind of went like it's been feeling like integration, just preparation, hibernation, and then boom, we get the call, boom, we're gone. So you're saying that's when that started. And, as the individuals go, so goes the collective. And it just ended on the 3rd of March. What was the overall of that whole gateway or whatever the hell you want to call it?
That was the transformation of the density of living from your karmatic experience or not here.
Okay.
Because you can't embody the heart or what you know, because notice that all the karmatic patterns stand in the way of what you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this Mars and Venus and Aquarius now at the tip of the arrow, Omateato, like you brought up earlier, is literally organizing in the flow of what you know. And this is also, it does open up into your dimensionality because of the Kundalini connection and the Uranus connection and the revolution of value. So it's kind of saying if you don't know your value right now, and you are lost. And notice everything is manifesting from the value and being in that flow. And this is why people are having erratic things happening. But what's happening is they're having sudden changes that lead to greater freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, that was a hell of a synopsis. And the value thing. I mean, that's an important affirmation, I think, every day. I know it is for me, and it's like, it's beyond you are worthy. It's like even has numbers. I mean, it's I guess progressed, and maybe that's part of the whole thing we're sharing, and part of the dimensionality. But like I see a number and go, oh, we could do that, and then all of a sudden there's more zeros added to it, and it's like this is this is truly an infinite field in a physicality, even though it looks like we're solid and not like some of our other aspects wearing capes with a big S on our chest.
It's so complicated, the transits, because we talked about the collapse of something so that we could embody the heart in this way. But the individual value and the empowerment of that represented Saturn and Uranus' square. That's also been a big part of this. And we're going to start coming out of that this year as Saturn and Uranus move away from their tension aspect, which has been pushing us to grow in our individual value. And either we're going to live imprisoned by our own reality, or we're going to live empowered. And there's not really, it's either one or the other.
Empowered, baby. Mm-hmm. Empowered. So that sounds like some pretty intense bifurcation, whatever they call it.
Ooh, I like that word. I'm going to look it up.
Bifurcation. Well, people always say it. I had to look it up too. Bifurcation. It's where there's a split, like the Great Divide, right? But because I was writing a piece, we probably did it together, and it was like, because where I was going with the tune was like, we thought it was a great divide, so it's not bifurcation, but biunification. Oh. Anyway, that was just my own mind going. So that's when I looked it up. But yeah, that sounds like a perfect, that kind of answers the question of all questions that people have had around the earth splitting and the great divide and the good people are here and the other people are there, the smart and the dumb or whatever. Or they're going to go into two different dimensions. But because when you really get down to it, those will be the only two realities. And the only place that even matters is from the fractal, the universe itself. Far out. Dude, what is that? Is that like a sativa bud that's been magnified dramatically?
Oh, I just love to search fractals and constantly have them around me.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
This one looks like there's something coming out of my head, so.
It looks like the wings of some. I mean, I see like a galactic creature. I see the head. Huh. So, okay. So, all right. Very cool. You got anything else?
Not really, Bubba. I put the new website live today, so that was a big accomplishment.
Congratulations.
Whew.
Congratulations. Yeah. I've been doing some, I've probably done, I don't know, probably about 20 sessions I recorded, working with the software and the voice and the different levels and all that, because makes a difference. But yeah, I probably have like 20 files, anywhere from like 2 minutes, oh fuck, and then turn it off, to 25-30 minutes of just playing a different instrumental after a different instrumental and seeing what I could do with it. So yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, I made 2 videos today with the program. Really cool. Some promotional videos for some things. It was really easy. And
what did you use? Did you use iMovie or did you use?
So I just used Ecamm and I made my scenes for what I wanted to put together, and I just produced it live. So you produced it to record only, or you actually went live? Well, I record only. But I just did everything live instead of having to edit.
Yeah. I got you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So once you have that, then you can throw it on iMovie and make it an MP4. Okay, I got you. Okay.
It actually it comes as an MP4.
It comes as an MP4.
Well, it comes as a .mov, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. And I think yeah. And so I've been converting those to an MP4, the few I've made, because it's just more adaptable. Or something like that. Mm-hmm. All right, brother. Tell Serena I say hello.
I will.
I'll see you You know,
Thanks for
when I
having me
see
on.
you, I'm not really sure when. I don't know what's going on. You know, I might have to look at the stars. I don't know, something like that. All right. I'll see you later. Take
All
care.
right. Peace.
All right.